Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, December 12th. Ian Cameron with you. Alex B. Smith, a little under the weather, but he'll be joining us very shortly, ready to break down the Tuesday card. 10 games on tap, a huge, massive Tuesday on tap here for the show. Today, we've got this show, of course, and, of course, our Betcast tonight, our final Betcast for the year 2023. People were asking me, actually, when I mentioned that it was the last Betcast of 2023, they thought that meant we weren't going to do another Betcast the rest of this NHL season. No, I mean the year 2023. That's what I mean. Just for the rest of this year, this month, December. We'll be back in January, of course, with more Betcasts and for the rest of the season. But definitely only meant for the rest of December as far as this being our last Betcast tonight. So we're looking forward to that. And, of course, that is coming your way tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, December 12th. Again, DM or email me or Alex B. Smith for the link for the Betcast. We'll send it to you if you want to join us on the stream tonight. So we're definitely looking forward to that as far as the Betcast is concerned. And again, lots of fun, live betting, commentary. Make sure you bring your adult beverages with you onto the Betcast stream as well. So lots to look forward to here tonight on this show. So or on the Betcast tonight. So we're excited about it. It's going to be like an Ice Guys Christmas party, if you will. Last night was an incredible night, I think, just from an overall perspective. Now, leave it to me to think of the one negative part of the night, and that was, I had the best bet on the Leafs, and they lose in overtime, and that kind of frustrated me. But other than that, the night was absolutely spectacular from a results standpoint last night on the Monday night card, whether it was draw prices cashing in with that Leafs-Islanders game, the over in that game. It was Detroit and Dallas. First period over, which was Alex's best bet. I had a piece of that as well. Just an absolutely terrific night on the ice, even with just 4 games. And then, of course, the main part of the awesomeness was all the player props that cashed in. And it was one of those days, look, and when you bet player props as much as I do, you're going to have bad runs and you're going to have bad days. And there's going to be times when, you're putting good thoughts into play. The process is good. You're betting value. You're betting players moving up the lineup, but the reality is they're not going to score every day. They're not going to produce every day, and you're going to have those dry spells, if you will, with betting for the greater value and the bigger plus price, the bargain bin type of player prop bets, if you will. But last night was one of those nights where we were just cashing one big price, after another with so many of these goal scorer props. Michael Carcone for the Arizona Coyotes comes through at plus 430. For my bargain bin special of the night. And then Alex B. Smith. I mean, I don't know what possessed him to take, well, he mentioned it yesterday, what possessed him to take Esa Lindell for the Dallas Stars to score a goal, noting that he had a pretty good history of at least of point production against the Detroit Red Wings in the past. But sure enough, he scores late in the first period. Also cashed my puck line in the first period on Dallas last night at plus 140. Scores a buzzer beater with less than a second left in the first period. And gives Dallas a 2-1 lead and cashes Esa Lindell's goal scorer prop, which was anywhere in the plus 1,100 to plus 1,150 range, 11-1 essentially for him to score a goal. So it was just absolutely spectacular to see that come through. And the combined prices of the bargain bin bets last night, plus 430 and plus 1,150, that's plus 1,580, worth of plus money. Cashing in with those two incredible bargain bin special goal scorer props coming through. Just incredible stuff. And then to make the things even more incredible, we've got one of our viewers and listeners who on social media last night says that I parlayed the 2 bargain bin specials, Carcone and Lindell, and it was like $10 paying out $5.80. On those 2 parlayed together. So it was just absolutely amazing to see what transpired last night. Overall, this was a night where we had, it was good. It was a good night, profitable night alone with the sides and the totals. But my gosh, the player props, the way we hit many of those was just incredible. And then the Calgary game, I didn't even get to Sharon Govich and Connor Zary both finding the back of the net in that game for Calgary last night, which was on my player prop card last night. So it was just a phenomenal night. Absolutely no question about that. Just briefly on the games, because I think last night was more worth talking about the bets than the games because it was just such a great night. The Islanders with a 4-3 overtime win. The Toronto Maple draws. Somehow, once again, they force overtime last night. Heroics. Morgan Riley with seconds left. And John Tavares assisting on the goal, giving him his second point of the night and the 1,000 points in his career. So a great milestone. Congrats to him. Unfortunately, the enthusiasm and the exuberation was short-lived as the Islanders ended up winning in overtime right after that. But over 1.5 points comes through for me. I took that with Tavares last night at plus 250. So that was great to be able to cash in with that. Islanders get the win. Another draw for Alex and I with the Leafs and the Islanders there in that game. Buffalo, give them credit. Big bounce back effort for them. 5-2 against Arizona last night, beating the Coyotes. Although the highlight for me was Carcone's goal prop for the bargain bin cashing in. Dallas beating Detroit 6-3, flies over the total, easy as can be with the first period over for Alex's best bet. And then, of course, the Essa Lindell heroics, which not only cashed the bargain bin at 11.50, but it also cashed my puck line with Dallas, which was just an incredible. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I freaked out. So that was just amazing. 6-3 Dallas, the final there. And a wild one in Colorado. Back and forth, back and forth. You're going to be a little sick to your stomach if you're Calgary, that you had a 5-3 lead in the third period, could not hold the lead. Colorado roars back. And really McKinnon and Rantanen, who are the guys that have the potential to dominate on a nightly basis. They did dominate that third period, both of them, for the Avalanche. Throw in a little Val Nichushkin as well. Those three guys could not be stopped in the third period, and the Avalanche roared back to win 6-5 last night. We've got Alex with us. He's playing through some sickness right now, but Alex, just there's nothing to make you feel sick about last night in the NHL.
No.
Incredible.
It was just a fantastic night, and just sometimes you just have these nights where things just hit, and you feel certain things in the game, and everything comes to fruition. It's just it's a wonderful feeling. And, to get that first period over, because it was a little dicey for a moment, with that Dallas and Detroit game. But once we got the second goal, I'm like, okay, we can kind of relax in a little bit. And I'm thinking maybe we'll, get our player props to hit a little bit later. But right before the buzzer, and, it was a clean goal right away. But then once they said Essa Lindell, I just freaked the fuck out. Sorry, screaming. I messaged you. I got to make sure that I, keep yelling so I can save my voice for tomorrow. But
and not piss off people around you living in the building, yeah.
Oh, I think I have the nicest neighbors because they hear me yell and scream, good or bad, most often. So shout out to them for that. But just a fun night, like I said. Then with Toronto, it would have been nice to have them complete it and get the win, especially because I jumped on them live. But like I said, we had the draw pregame, and I even grabbed some more draw plus 290 when they were down a goal, and so. Doubling up and hitting that draw as well. That added to the night because I also have the draw in Detroit, Dallas. Of course, that didn't get there, but everything else is just fantastic. I even tailored your Carcone play as well. So it was one of the most profitable nights of the year so far. And like I said, it's great to see all the different people who cashed in with those player props and the people, like I said, with the bargain bin, parlaying both of them together. So it, of course, we all appreciate winning ourselves, but it's great when we see the viewers and listeners winning as well. This is why we do the show.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was fulfilling. It's not just that we put money in our pockets. We're helping put money in your pockets as well. And we can see that because there are 3 or 4 people, at least last night, just tweeting out and posting on X their tickets. They're winning tickets. They're winning bets, sharing in the fun, sharing in the profits with us. And it just means a lot. It means the work is going into it. It leads to these kind of results. Not every night. Hey, there's some shit nights. And, I always worry a night like last night, there's a shit night coming up tonight around the corner. I hope not. I've worked hard to ensure that's not the case tonight with this big Tuesday card, but you can never take anything for granted. But we're hoping for another big day with the pregame bets and certainly with the live betcast. We'll put our live betting practices into motion, and we're looking forward to it. This is really our last chance tonight to hang out with all of you one last time here for the year 2023. So this is our last Betcast of the year tonight. We're looking forward to it. And we'll be on for the whole night, basically. We'll be on for the whole night. We'll take you right from the beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern when that slew of early games comes through. It's an interesting schedule, Alex. It's kind of nice because you've got 4 games at the 7 p.m. Eastern hour. You got the Philly-Nashville game at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then there's that little buffer zone where you've got 5 late games after that at 10 p.m. Eastern and beyond. So it's going to be nice the way they've staggered the schedule a little bit, where a lot of early games, and then there's that little break where there's not, any 8:30 or 9 Eastern games, and then you go at 10 Eastern, you rev up again for a set of 5 games at the end of the night. There's some really good ones at the end of the night too that we're very much looking. Even Winnipeg, San Jose, you would have thought before the season, terrible game, and now San Jose is as hot as can be right now and pulling off these heroics every night. That's even an interesting game, maybe more than it would have been early in the season. So we'll be on right till the end, approximately 1 a.m. Eastern time. So at any part of the night, you can join us early, late. Make sure you join us. Our final live Betcast of 2023 coming your way tonight. There it is, once again, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. And again, DM either one of us for the link, and we'll send it to you before the Betcast begins. All right, let's get to tonight. We've got 10 games in the NHL, and we will start with the struggling Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Ottawa Senators. Carolina minus 135, road favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. I'm on Ottawa here. Nothing really mind-blowing as to why I'm on Ottawa. It's just, to me, prove it for Carolina. Prove it you can bust out of this slide and malaise and struggle that you're in before I'm ready to back you. Certainly before I'm ready to lay a price on the road with you as favorites. And I look at Ottawa. I talk about how Carolina's slumping, not playing very well here in recent games. 4 straight losses here. This road trip's been dreadful. Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, and they got 2 more games on this trip. Ottawa tonight, Detroit on Thursday night, before they finally go home and face Nashville on a back-to-back on Friday after that. But to me, Carolina's it's a combination of things. Their defensive play hasn't been good. Their goaltending hasn't been good at all, especially with Ronta in net. And even Kochetkov has had some bad outings here, or less than stellar outings, let's put it that way. The Calgary game, when he blew the 2-0 lead, wasn't great. He got lit up, of course, by Edmonton, and he got pulled in that game early. So even he's scuffled, but they're just not playing as tight in front of him, not as well structured defensively in front of him. He is in net tonight, by the way, for Carolina, the aforementioned Pyotr Kochetkov. Korpisalo projected, although that is not confirmed as of yet. It's just tough to trust this team. And if you look at Ottawa, they've won 3 of their last 4 games, beating Seattle at home, beating a very good Rangers team 6-2. I was very impressed with that. The loss to Toronto, actually, they should have won. That was actually a game that Toronto actually, I thought, got badly outplayed. It ended up being 4-3, the Leafs, but Ottawa with the 41-22 edge in shots, and they took apart Detroit 5-1. So they're playing a lot better. Yeah, the players only meeting, I'm aware of that. Someone in the chat mentioning that. I find this is not that cure-all that fixes things all the time. Look at Pittsburgh. They had that team meeting against Tampa Bay after Tampa Bay lost. What did that do for them? Jack shit. Because what happened against Florida? They lost 3-1 coming off a players-only meeting. So, yeah, maybe the players-only meeting gets them focused, gets them playing on their toes, playing one of their better games lately. That might be true, and maybe it leads to a victory. But for me, this is betting prices right now. And right now, in the very short term, you take the last 5-game sample size, Ottawa's been better than Carolina in the last 5-game sample size. So I'm on the Senators here, plus 115. I'm also on this over 6.5 as well. You look at Carolina right now, they're one of those teams that, at the defensive end of the ice, they're struggling. They're having trouble keeping the puck out of the net. And we saw 5-3 between these two teams when they met in Carolina earlier this year. And Ottawa was right there with Carolina. And that was Carolina when they were in better form. Carolina at home, where they played pretty good this year. I think Ottawa knows they can hang with this team. And if you look at last year, 3-2 Ottawa at home, they beat Carolina. Carolina won 3-2 in overtime before that last year. 4-3 Ottawa. Actually, Ottawa's won the last 2 home games here where they've hosted the Hurricanes. So sends an over for me in this one. Alex, Carolina, Ottawa.
Yeah, I'm glad this will be one of the games that's on the Betcast, because it's something I'm kind of looking for live. I lean toward Ottawa, like you said, with that price. I can't lay a price with Carolina, certainly on the road right now. But I'm kind of circling that first period over. It's a little bit high now at $1.50, $1.55, so we want to knock that down and grab that in game. And more than likely, we'll be kind of just looking for some next goal props and different things. So it's a good live wagering game for me.
Yeah, 6-10 on the road for Carolina. That's not what you want to see. And they've got a little Tampa syndrome going on where they've got to start playing some better hockey right now on the road. And they just, quite honestly, have not done a good enough job of that. So we'll see how this one goes here against with the Carolina-Ottawa game. But, it's a good night for a Betcast for this game. We talk about that players meeting and what will it inspire? Let's see. Let's see from the opening puck drop what it brings out of Carolina tonight. Focus, attention to detail. We'll see that quite early in that game, definitely when it begins. All right, Toronto Maple Leafs, New York Rangers. We've got the Rangers up to -180. I do want to point out this line opened Rangers -140. So we're talking a 40-cent move toward the New York Rangers, total 6. Yeah, you can understand why from a spot perspective. Rest advantage for the New York Rangers. Toronto on a back-to-back, hard-fought game against the Islanders. Expend energy, go to overtime. Emotional with John Tavares, their captain, getting to 1,000 career points, getting that 1,000th point with the tying goal in the dying seconds. Playing on a back-to-back, depleted, shorthanded defense and blue line right now for this team. I mean, it's got all the makings of a Rangers spot. There's no question about that. Oh, and throw in the fact that for the very first time as a Maple Leaf, Martin Jones will get the start tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And no-brainer, of course, because Samsonov was in last night. Joe Woll's out indefinitely, that we were going to see Martin Jones in net tonight for the Leafs. For the New York Rangers, Igor Shesterkin back in net tonight in this game. Can he find his best game? I mean, Igor Shesterkin, I don't want to say he's been horrible. He hasn't been. But 2.83 goals against, .908 save percentage, and a guy that, believe it or not, in 4 of his last 5 starts, he has given up at least 3 goals. And that's not something that you see quite often from from Igor Shesterkin. So will he find it tonight? That remains to be seen. It's going to be an interesting matchup here. I don't love this spot clearly for the Leafs. I definitely think the Rangers probably win the game, but -180 now, the price has gotten away. And, I can't get away from betting Toronto draws right now. I just can't. And even with, the concerns about the spot, the back-to-back, playing an emotional game, especially for their captain against the Islanders last night. First of all, Shesterkin's definitely battling his confidence a little bit. So the questions about whether the Rangers can just run away and win this game by margin, I think, are up in the air. And the one thing we have seen from the Leafs, even with this depleted blue line, is that they've hung around in games. And actually, their back-to-back record, if you look at it, the few back-to-backs they've had this year, they've been competitive. They've been right in the game. They've been equal to the opponent in a lot of games. And it's just hard to deny it, betting a draw right now with a Toronto Maple Leafs team that has gone past regulation now in 6 of their last 9 games. I mean, that's amazing. 6 of their last 9 games for the Toronto Maple Leafs have gone past regulation. We'll see if this one does the same. I should point out there is some series history of overtimes as well with these two teams. 4 of the last 10 have gone past regulation. Last year, there was an overtime game in one of the 3 head-to-head meetings, and the game in New York, which the 2 games in New York, there was a 3-1 game and a 3-2 game last year. So competitive games here with the Leafs and the Rangers. I'm going to go with the draw here in this one for, like I say, a small bet. Just, the Leaf draws have been good to me. I lean over too, but I'm on the fence with that. I just think at 6, with Toronto's back end beaten up, with Shesterkin kind of not on his best form right now, and of course Martin Jones in net. Do we really trust him at the moment? No, especially with a blue line that's depleted. So I think at 6, I've got to go over the total here for this one for some kind of bet. Small one probably, but some kind of bet here for me on the over, given the situation. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs Rangers.
Yeah, I would like to have gotten that price of 140, like I said, but missing the boat now with Jones confirmed, and like I said, can't take a regulation spot here with the Rangers either because of the history with, like I said, close games between these two, and with how the Maple Leafs have been going to overtime lately. So it's a pass for now, and I'm hoping to grab something with on the live bet. Over 6, I would lean with, but we could probably grab a 5.5 at a better price adjusted in games.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I'm definitely eyeing 5.5 with a total in this game for the Betcast tonight. You can write that down. because sometimes I don't mention it right away, but I will be locking in 5.5 on the Betcast. I will be looking at a 5.5 live in this game. There's no question there as far as the live total here in this one. Prop wise in this game, coming off last night, it's a little tricky here with the Leafs. Big night obviously for Tavares. We'll see if he can follow that up here tonight. I think there's some value for the Rangers. I mean, obviously Trocheck, Kreider, Panarin, Zibanejad, we know how good they are. But don't sleep on Jimmy Vesey. Jimmy Vesey is someone that's been an undervalued commodity for them. One goal did score in the last game, that 4-1 win against the LA Kings. So definitely keep that in mind. It looks like Alex, by the way, nauseous right now. So he might just be in the chat for the rest of the show. Hopefully he gets over this for tonight on the Betcast. But yeah, he's going to be, in the chat for the probably the remainder of the show. Like I said, he's battling some bout of nausea right now. But yeah, for me, a draw and the over, and I'll probably put a little more on a live over if we get a 5.5 on the Betcast here tonight. All right, Arizona, Pittsburgh. Penguins minus 190, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. This is one where I just don't really have much on it. Arizona, they are going through a little downturn, decline in their play here. They're on a 3-game losing streak, tough spot, third road game in 4 days, back-to-back on the road after a 5-2 loss to the Buffalo Sabres last night. Hard to trust Arizona in this spot, very tricky spot. Also without maybe Sean Durzi. Late scratch last night against Buffalo, lower body injury, day-to-day absence for him. And this is a guy that's been very solid on the back end for the Coyotes so far this season. But do I want to lay this price with Pittsburgh? Absolutely not. Not a chance. Am I interested in Pittsburgh at this price? So no thank you with the Penguins here in this game. It's just nothing. I don't really love anything here. Side total, maybe a couple props. Obviously, we got to go back to Michael Carcone. You know that. He's just been insane with just how he's been producing night in and night out for this team, and the value is still there, believe it or not, for his player props right now. I'll throw out another one for Arizona. Jason Zucker, former Penguin. We know we got the former team angle in play here for Jason Zucker, former member of the Pittsburgh Penguins, now going back to Pittsburgh to face the Penguins. So you can find Jason Zucker, really good prices still, plus 335. Bet Rivers for Jason Zucker tonight to find the back of the net. So that's not a bad option. Carcone as well for the Coyotes. I think for the Pittsburgh Penguins, you look at who is going to have to get them out of this abyss. This is embarrassing that their offense is this bad right now, and their power play is even worse. There is no way they should be this horrendous offensively or with the power play, but somehow they've been that. Now, Brian Rust is out for the Penguins, and Raquel's been on IR for a bit. But to me, you've got to rely on a few of your big guns to get you out of this. Gensel, Crosby, those are the guys you got to rely on. Drew O'Connor has been moved up to the top line for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't know if I trust him to score because nobody's scoring on this team right now. But if the Ian Cameron bargain bin goal scorer prop betting system, which really works, says bet Drew O'Connor to score a goal tonight, plus 460, playing with Crosby and Gensel on the top line tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I know this team's just not scoring much, but you got to almost take a small shot with O'Connor at that price, playing with Crosby and Gensel. And here's another one, playing with Riley Smith and Evgeny Malkin on the second line, Valtteri Puustinen here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Valtteri Puustinen has been recalled from Wilkes-Barre Scranton. He's only played in one NHL game in his career, but it looks like Mike Sullivan knows I need offense from this guy. And he did in his first game of the season at Florida on Friday night, the 3-1 loss. He did get an assist on the Pittsburgh goal in that game. So Valtteri Puustinen here at plus 600 at Betano, 500 at the score bet, 440 at FanDuel, 450 at Bet99. I think ESPN Bet has 500. So there's a decent price too for someone that's going to be playing top 6 minutes tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So more of a prop game for me here, Coyotes and the Penguins here in this one rather than side or total. All right, the next game is the first of the ESPN Tuesday night doubleheader. We've got the Detroit Red Wings taking on the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis minus 135, home favorites, and the total here currently at, let me just see, I believe it's 6.5. Yep, 6.5 across the board here in this game. I definitely think we could see some goals here. Over 6.5 makes some sense to me in this matchup. We have Jordan Binnington in net for St. Louis. Ville Husso expected but not confirmed yet for the Detroit Red Wings. Both of these teams, I mean, Detroit defensively has been out of whack, out of sorts lately, struggling at that end of the ice. They give up 4 to Montreal, 3 to Buffalo, 6 to San Jose, 5 to Ottawa, 6 last night in the front end of the back-to-back in that loss to the Dallas Stars. So they've had all kinds of issues keeping the puck out of the net. They're also very depleted, short-handed, short-staffed as well, as we kind of mentioned yesterday before the Dallas game. No Dylan Larkin, no Klim Kostin, no City of Comfort, crazy motherfucker named JT, City of Comfort. JT Compher out, David Perron serving a 6-game suspension for his actions in the Ottawa game on Saturday night. So it's just a lot of issues right now for Detroit. And the thing too about Detroit is with all these guys out and with multiple changes in the lineup, this goes back to something one of our original, contributors and one of our original members of the Ice Guys show years ago, Dana Lane, an old friend of ours from Las Vegas. He said this a lot when he was on the show many, many years ago, the very first iteration of the Ice Guys when we started 6-7 years ago. He would say that change in the lineup, a lot of change in the lineup, multiple forwards in, multiple forwards out, multiple D in, multiple D out, that usually leads to overs, and that leads to worse defensive play because you got to get used to being in the right spot. You've got to get used to knowing the tendencies of your line mates, or when you're on the blue line, knowing the tendencies of your defensive partner. And a lot of times you just get people caught out of play, caught out of the play and just in bad positioning defensively, both forwards, back checking, and the blue line defensemen as well. So that's kind of what you saw last night. All these new faces in the lineup, and here's Detroit just breaking down left and right defensively, with all these changes that they've made in the lineup. So it goes hand in hand with what he was saying years ago on the show that, definitely you could see that impact teams defensively more than anything, all the changes. So, it looks like it's again going to be, it looks like there's a little switching going on tonight. It's funny, Joe Veleno scored last night. There's another prop I didn't mention. I took a little Joe Veleno plus 500 last night. He scored for Detroit. He was on the top line with Kane and the Cat, but it looks like Derek Lalonde's going to flip his 2 top centers tonight. Veleno's going down to the second line 2 center spot with Raymond and Rasmussen. Andrew Kopp is going to move up to the top line center spot tonight with DeBrincat and Kane. And I know why he's doing that. He wants some defensive presence on that top line. He knows DeBrincat's not a great defender. Patrick Kane doesn't play defense, okay? As much as we love his offensive game, he's never been much of a defensive forward. That's just the way it's been. Now, he hasn't needed to be because he's just so gifted offensively that's good enough. But, I think what you're looking at from Derek Lalonde here is, we need a little bit better defensive play from our top line. We know we've got the offense, or we're capable of getting the offense from those guys, but Andrew Kopp is definitely one of those guys that will play 200-foot game, both ends of the ice. So I think that's why Lalonde's making the change. You can't have this top line getting eaten up defensively like they've been here the last couple of games, and they're hoping Kopp centering that line, a little defensive-minded center, capable of playing well away from the puck, putting him with Pat Kane and Alex DeBrincat will help that. So let's see how that plays out because they know they got to try to tighten things up. But I'll tell you what, Ville Husso, he would be playing his old team here, the St. Louis Blues, if he does get the start here. But he's got to find his game again because last 2 games, Montreal and San Jose, 10 goals allowed in those 2 games combined for Ville Husso. So hasn't necessarily been great here in net for the Detroit Red Wings as of late. So I'm probably just going to look to the over here. I can't back Detroit. It would be St. Louis or nothing for me, but the thought of laying a $1.35 with St. Louis is not appealing to me. So this is an easy pass from a side perspective. St. Louis, if I had to, but the good news is I don't have to. And plus, keep in mind, St. Louis has now lost 4 of their last 5 games as well. So, there's, that's something you want to mention. Here's another thing, too, about the Blues. You might look at it offensively, that what's the matter with their offense here? They scored only 3 goals over the weekend, 2 goals against Columbus, 1 goal against Chicago. The Columbus game in particular, they had 43 shots. The Chicago game, they still had 24 shots, maybe not as many as they needed, but definitely in both of those games, if you look at expected goals, St. Louis probably should have scored more goals than they did in those two games. So now's a chance for a team that probably had the potential to score more than they did based on what they generated in the losses against Columbus and Chicago over the weekend. And now here they are getting a chance to maybe lick their lips, lick their chops, if you will, against a Detroit team that has obviously had their issues here for 3-4 games in a row, keeping the puck out of their own net here. So definitely I think over is what I'm going to stick to. I think there's a good first period, both teams to score, or first period overlook. Keep in mind, Alex was on the show yesterday mentioning how suddenly in the short term, Detroit has become a big-time first period over team. So this is probably one of those games where you maybe share the wealth, first period over, maybe a little first period, both teams to score, and then that full game over 6.5 here with the Red Wings and the Blues. As far as the props go, Veleno and Rasmussen on the second line shows some value, in my opinion here. Daniel, that Sprong. Daniel Sprong, man. He scored again last night for Detroit against Dallas, and he's a sneaky offensive player. Like, this guy only gets third-line duty, and he's got 7 goals, so never know. Jonathan Berggren, who was called up, he scores for them last night against the Dallas Stars, although this guy's in heavy trade rumors, and he's not getting a ton of minutes, but even with only 8 minutes and 30 seconds on ice last night, did manage to produce and found the back of the net last night for the Red Wings. So there's a couple options there. And then for St. Louis, we're going back to the well with here. Won't you be my neighbors? Jake Neighbors on the top line for the St. Louis Blues, still with Robert Thomas, Kyrou. Keep an eye on those guys. They've definitely been they've been carrying the way for the St. Louis Blues offensively of late. So those would be the main focuses for me as far as player props for the St. Louis Blues here in this game tonight when they take on the Detroit Red Wings. All right, let's move along here. Shout out to everyone in the chat. By the way, yes, I agree with what Mike's saying. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Remember, we're doing double duty for you today. Our daily show right now, and then the live Betcast tonight. The beer fridge is stocked, ready to roll. Tons of booze. I might even drink more than I might tie one on tonight. Seriously, no joke. This is the last Betcast of the year. Let's go out with a bang here. Let's have some fun. Let's really whoop it up here on this Betcast tonight. Feeling in a party mood tonight. This is like our Ice Guys. So not only our last live Betcast of the year of 2023 before the holiday season, feels like a Christmas party tonight. So we'll party it up as well here tonight on the Betcast. Tonight. We're looking forward to it. All right, Philadelphia, Nashville. Nashville Predators -140, home favorite, 6 the total here in this game. Give me the Red Hot Flyers at plus money. I've got to bet them right now. They're playing great hockey. Not the greatest spot either for Nashville. They returned back home following a road trip. Not always an easy spot. It was a mini road trip, but if you actually go back and look further, there was a 2-game road trip that they had against Toronto and Montreal over the weekend. But if you go back to the beginning of December, they hosted the Rangers to begin the month. And then they traveled to Buffalo, traveled to Chicago, traveled back home for 1 game against Tampa Bay. And then they traveled to Toronto, traveled to Montreal, and now they travel back home. So they've actually gone now 6 straight games, entering their 7th game now with travel and transit in between each game. So yeah, only a 2-game road trip, but if you actually look at the recent Nashville Predators schedule, their last 7 games, they've had to travel in between each game. So you almost have to treat it like a 7-game road trip or 6-game road trip for this group because they've had to travel in between each game lately. So, and look, Nashville's playing well, 9-6. The home record's pretty solid for the Predators here in Music City. But Philadelphia, not only have they won 4 in a row, 5-2 in their last 7 games. The competition they've beat's been pretty solid, and they have the shootout win, I should say, against the shutout and shootout win, I should say, against the Islanders, 1-0. Carolina game was a 4-1 loss at home, but they outplayed, outchanced, outshot the Hurricanes in that loss. Probably could have won it with some better puck luck. They definitely deserved to beat New Jersey when they lost in overtime. They outshot the Devils 47-35, but lost in overtime 4-3. Heartbreaker. They deserved the win there. And then they've won the 4 straight since that New Jersey loss, beating the Penguins twice, Arizona, and then a terrific performance against Colorado, 5-2 over the Avs. A great performance in net from Carter Hart. And I think that's got to be one of the things that you're most excited about with the way the Philadelphia Flyers are playing right now. Is they've been getting very good goaltending from really both guys. Carter Hart's been really good. And don't sleep on the goalie that's in net tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers, who's really played well after a bit of a shaky start to the season. Samuel Ersson, 4-0 in his last 4 starts in between the pipes for the Philadelphia Flyers. Wins against Anaheim, Columbus, Islanders, Pittsburgh. 4-0 in his last 4 starts entering this outing tonight. 2.78 goals against average. 880. The save percentage is not great, but the fact of the matter is a lot of the save percentage being weaker and lower is because of the struggles he had early in the season, but he's clearly come around and played better lately. He's in net tonight for Philadelphia, Samuel Ersson. UC Saros gets the nod for Nashville in this game. I do like Philly in this game. I do sprinkle the draw as well. 4 of the last 7 Philadelphia games have gone past regulation. We know Nashville can play some pretty tight hockey games as well. And last year when these two teams played, Philly actually won in Nashville last year by a score of 3-1. So they've shown the ability under Torts to come in here to Nashville and win as a dog. They did it last year. And then the game in Philly with these two teams was an overtime game. So it's dog and draw for me here. Flyers and draw in this one between the Flyers and the Predators in this game. Keep in mind, too, the series history last year, both meetings staying under the total. 3-1, 2-1, the final scores in that game. And as far as props tonight in this one, I still stand by a couple of, Owen Tippett is always a threat. But to me, Tyson Forster, who has 4 goals and 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 points in the last 6 games for the Flyers, and someone that John Tortorella clearly is enjoying and liking what he's seeing from Tyson Forster on the left wing side of that top line with Sean Couturier and Travis Konechny playing very well for them right now. So there's a little undervalued prop look potentially there on the Philadelphia side for this game tonight against the Nashville Predators. All right, let's move along. We've got the rest of the games are the late night games, all of them at 10 p.m. Eastern and beyond. Starting in Van City, where we've got the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver minus 125, home favorites. The total in this game currently sitting at 6.5, shaded to the under. Tampa Bay got a win in their last game against the Seattle Kraken as this road trip continues. But again, barely did they get that win against a Seattle Kraken team that's not exactly playing great hockey by any stretch of the imagination at all. It's been a struggle for Seattle. Let's keep in mind, before that game, this team had dropped 4 straight road games. Road record just hasn't been up to par for Tampa Bay all season, 5-10. So even after that Seattle win, 5-10, the Tampa Bay Lightning still on the road coming into this game tonight. So this is a fascinating matchup. Tampa Bay also, keep in mind, dealing with Stamkos. Still, it looks like out of the lineup potentially here tonight. To make matters worse, there's a chance Victor Hedman might miss this game. He couldn't finish the game against Seattle due to an undisclosed injury the other night. So keep an eye on this. Stamkos with the illness. He didn't play against Seattle. Hedman left that game due to injury, and both of them very much a game-time decision here for the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight in this game. Vancouver, meanwhile, they lost to Tampa earlier this year, 4-3. Against the Lightning. It was a pretty even game. The one concern, I guess, would be Tampa Bay 7 straight victories against the Vancouver Canucks. They have really had the better of it with Vancouver, but I'd be on Vancouver or nothing here personally in this game tonight. We are expected to see Thatcher Demko in net for Vancouver. That is confirmed. Andrei Vasilevsky projected, although not yet confirmed here for Tampa Bay in this game. Nevertheless, I think when you see the way Vancouver's played, they've now won 3 of their last 4, 2 straight here at home against Minnesota and Carolina. A very good home record overall, and that's the biggest factor to me. You got a team that hasn't been able to consistently show they can win games and put wins together on the road, like Tampa, 5-10 away from home. And here's Vancouver with an absolutely terrific home record at 10-4 here on the season for the Vancouver Canucks. So I like the Canucks here a little bit, minus 125 in this game. Totals-wise, We've seen 4-3, 5-2, 5-4 of the last three meetings between these two teams. Then we saw one game stay under, and then before that we saw 4-2, 9-2, 5-2. We've seen the over cash in 7 of the last 7, 2, and 1 to the over in the last 10 head-to-head meetings here with the Lightning and the Vancouver Canucks. I would go in that direction here probably as well with over 6.5. Don't love it, though, because, with Vasilevsky, there's always the chance for better goaltending effort from the Lightning. Plus, you have Stamkos out, but we know there's more than enough catalysts for the Lightning with Point and Kucherov. And Cirelli has stepped up offensively, and Brandon Hagel's capable as well. And I like what I'm seeing up front from the Vancouver Canucks right now. JT Miller continues to be outstanding. And there's a couple of really good player props here for Vancouver. Obviously, Besser, Miller, and Pettersson. You could bet those guys every night they're a threat. But the three guys that are still undervalued, very much so, for Vancouver with their player props right now. Ilya Mikheyev with on the top line with Pettersson, and the other one is Sam Lafferty. Sam Lafferty has been placed on the top line with Pettersson and Mikheyev. And Sam Lafferty has 3 goals in the last 4 games and 5 points in the last 4 games for the Vancouver Canucks. He's earned the trust of Rick Tocchet. He's a very fast skater. He's great in both ends of the ice. He goes to the front of the net to score goals. And Rick Tocchet really, really has come to trust and appreciate Sam Lafferty to the point where he's given him this top-line responsibility, and he's absolutely not getting priced like it in his player props. So Sam Lafferty's a good look, and so is Niels Höglander, who finally didn't score the other night, but since he's been moved up to the second line for Vancouver, he's been certainly stepping things up offensively of late, plus 360 for Niels Höglander to score a goal. And like I said, for Sam Lafferty, keep in mind, he's on the top line, and you can get plus 450 at FanDuel for Sam Lafferty here to score a goal tonight in this game for the Canucks. So some good value with some of these Canuck players right now that aren't the big guns like Miller and Pettersson and Besser, but they are producing every bit as much right now offensively for the Vancouver Canucks. All right, Calgary Flames, Vegas Golden Knights. We've got Vegas minus 200 home favorites, 6 the total here, shaded to the under in this one. Tough spot for Calgary, very tough. Brutal loss last night against Colorado. I know Colorado's dangerous, and we've seen this for years. How many times have we seen Colorado come back and win a game on home ice when they're trailing in the third? They've done it many times. So it's not like Calgary, is any different from other teams that have fallen victim to a Colorado third period comeback at home when the altitude and the thin air kicks in and Colorado's used to it and the other team kind of runs out of gas. But nevertheless, you still are going to come out of that game if you're Calgary thinking we should have shut it down. We should have won that game. We should have held on to the lead. So a very, very tough situation for Calgary last night. Losing that game. Now you got to play the defending champion Vegas Golden Knights back to back. For this Calgary team coming into this one. Very tough spot. Plus, Calgary just beat Vegas 2-1 in Calgary, so a little mini short turnaround revenge spot. Those teams played just a couple weeks ago. Calgary got a 2-1 win. I think Vegas is going to want to bounce back, and Vegas is scoring goals in bunches right now. Absolutely, if they've been able to find the back of the net of late, they have scored 16 goals in their last, 17 goals in their last 3 games. All of them victories against St. Louis, Dallas, and that wild one against the San Jose Sharks on Sunday night. In fact, 5-1 their last 6 games, Vegas, and in all the victories, they have scored at least 4 goals, which is pretty impressive. And why are they suddenly playing better offensively? Well, it's because Stevenson is starting to get going. Marchessault and Eichel have really picked things up lately. And we know when they're going, it's very difficult to stop this Golden Knights team. They're getting a couple of depth scoring contributions as well on a regular basis. Carlson's been good. Everyone's starting to factor into things for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I do like Vegas team total here. Rather than the minus 200, just take their team total, which is around even money, plus 100 for Vegas team total over 3.5. I do like that here in this game. Now, it is going to be probably Dustin Wolf in net for the Calgary Flames. We know he's a good, talented young kid, but, when you look at the situation surrounding Wolf tonight, you got a tired team back-to-back on the road. And also, too, you talk about defenseman injuries that matter. Chris Tanev matters. He left the game due to injury last night against Colorado. He's not in the lineup tonight. In fact, he's going to be probably day to day, maybe even week to week. And this is a guy that is just irreplaceable on the blue line for the Calgary Flames. He blocks a shit ton of shots. He's their best defensive-minded defenseman, hands down. It's not even a debate. Hannafin and Anderson and some of their other defensemen, they're a little bit, they can get into the rush, and they're not just that shutdown D-man that Chris Tanev is for this team. And if you actually look in the past when Tanev's been missing for Calgary, their defense suffers. They give up more goals. Their games more often than not go over the total. I would probably lean full game over here. In fact, I probably will grab a little slice of the over here in this game just because, look, Vegas is scoring right now. No question about that. They've gone over the total now in 3 straight games. Defensive play has been kind of up and down. Logan Thompson, by the way, will be the starting goalie in net for the Golden Knights in this game. He's won 3 of his last 4 starts. I could see Calgary, though, getting on the board at least a couple of times. But certainly I think Vegas, when you look at it, and again, Chris Tanev being out of the lineup for them has resulted in a much, much worse defensive team that they've had in the games that he's missed in years past. If you actually look at last year, 2 years ago, Tanev out of the lineup, Calgary defense suffers, no question. So I like over 6 for a small bet, but primarily here Vegas team total over 3.5 for me between the Flames and the Golden Knights in this one tonight. And then as far as, like I say, props, even though I think Vegas will more than likely do the bulk of the scoring tonight, why not go back to the well with Sharon Govich and Zary? They've been very good for the Flames. They're still in the top 6 for this group. Still great value for them. And like I said, with Sharon Govich in particular, you just watch now and see with him getting the goal that he got against his old team, New Jersey. He had a bunch of chances before that. Puck wasn't going in. Watch that maybe lead to the floodgates opening. And suddenly, just like that, he scored in back-to-back games now for the Calgary Flames. So Sharon Govich, finally, after all this time, is starting to find some confidence offensively on the top line for Calgary. All right, Florida, Seattle. We've got Florida minus 170, road favorites, 6.5 the total. Yeah, I'm tapping the brakes on Seattle. It's just been a horrendous run for them. And what's disappointing, I guess, about Seattle is I thought they took a few steps forward. Despite losing in New Jersey, they badly outplayed the Devils. I thought they were toe-to-toe with Tampa the other night. Easily could have won that game. Instead, Tampa wins in overtime. I felt they took a step back, though, after that when they played Minnesota, losing 3-0. I thought that was a step in the wrong direction. I thought they had 2 winnable efforts against New Jersey and Tampa Bay, but I did not see that Seattle performance against Minnesota getting shut out by the Wild 3-0 as a winnable effort. I thought they took a step back there in that game. So I'm off Seattle. I don't want them now, at this point. 8 straight losses. But I'm not laying $170 on the road with Florida, though, either, going into this game. They have won 3 in a row. They started their road trip with a 5-2 win at Columbus. They're now going to do the Pacific Northwest road trip, Seattle tonight, and then they go to Western Canada to face Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary in 3 straight road games for Florida after this game. In this game, it's tricky. Florida's scoring, but do you trust Seattle to score right now? This is a team, Seattle, that in this losing streak, the last 5 games, they have scored 2 goals or less in 4 of those 5 games. It's just not easy to trust Seattle to do much of anything offensively right now. And then to make matters worse, we talk about some of the injuries that they're currently dealing with, including Philip Grubauer, who's on IR. They've really missed Burakovsky more than you would think. And unfortunately, they're not getting as much as they need, throughout the lineup from, Bjorkstrand's been quiet lately. Beniers and Eberle and McCann have been, they've got to be absolute beasts right now for this team. And their production has been plodding. And as a result, Seattle can't overcome that because, they're down to young Joey Decord in net, who I think in time could have an NHL future, but he's still trying to find his footing at the NHL level, gain consistency. So it's difficult to have him in there night in and night out playing at the absolute best. So for me, it's really a pass all around here, Florida and Seattle. I don't want to lay this much of a price with Florida, but I can't take Seattle right now. It's more of a prop game for me. And for Florida, you probably got to focus more on their props because they're the team that is obviously scoring goals lately. for this. And Sam Reinhart has just been absolutely unconscious all season. He's been absolutely spectacular as far as production goes. As Cuban says, Carter Verhaeghe, 4 goals in the last 5 games, 7 points in the last 5 games. I mean, you could look at his props. Reinhart every night's a threat. We know that. I mean, this recent run for Sammy Reinhart, 8 points in the last 3 games for him, for the Florida Panthers. He's actually got more goal assists now than goals. So this could be a nice little, Sam Reinhart over 1.5 points tonight. He's had multi-point games now multiple times recently. And I think there's an opportunity maybe for him to continue that recent trajectory here tonight. Bet365 has the milestone point props, and you can get Reinhart here plus 290 tonight to get over 1.5 points in this game for the Florida Panthers. So definitely something to consider here tonight with the Panthers and the Kraken. All right, next up is the second game of the ESPN Tuesday night doubleheader. It's the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Edmonton Oilers. We've got Edmonton. They're upwards of minus 500 now in this game against the Chicago Blackhawks. Total sitting at 6.5 across the board. Certainly I've been cashing in repeatedly on this homestand with Edmonton with the team total over 3.5 on the Oilers. I'd like to go back to that here. The problem is, the pricing of the team total has now gotten a little out of hand. It's now 3.5 with significant juice. Make sure you shop around because we do have, places like BetMGM that offer the team total half goal props. And I'd probably consider that instead with Edmonton here rather than the over 4.5. You could take over 4, at BetMGM for the team total for Edmonton. Let me just see what the price is of that. Oh, even the over 4, man, it's minus 210. Holy shit. Wow. So much for that idea. Gosh, this might be one of those games where you just got to get a little creative here. Maybe look at it. Maybe look at an Oilers team total in the first period. Could that hit? It's possible. Let me see what the first period number is on that in this game. But yeah, that one you'll get a little value on it. Is Edmonton, team total in the first. Yeah, I can't touch over 4 at minus 210. Over 4.5 at Pinnacle for Edmonton team total is minus 102. I don't love that price. Even the first period team total. Usually you can get a first period over 1.5 team total. It's close to plus 200. I'm seeing like plus 140 for Edmonton. So you're seeing a massive price change with that here tonight, no question. So I definitely think in this matchup, Edmonton probably wins this. Chicago, to me, just doesn't have enough in the tank. And remember, Chicago, too, on the road has been pretty bad. At home, they put up their best efforts. On the road, they're 4-10 this year. Edmonton's rolling along. I might sprinkle on that Oilers team total over 1.5. Both teams to score in the first period. Because I do think Chicago, when you look at this Blackhawks team, and the one thing they've been doing lately at times is they've been, getting on the board early. And I could see maybe them putting one in past our guy, Stuart Skinner, here in this game tonight. Maybe early catch, Edmonton maybe somewhat asleep, but I just think that Edmonton's going to be able to get theirs. Peter Mrazek, by the way, confirmed in net here tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks in this game. So I definitely like the first period team total over on the Oilers more than anything. What we can do, because this is the Betcast, is, you can bet team totals live. Most sports books are going to offer you live betting for team totals. And you could always, consider waiting for a 3.5 to pop up on an Oilers team total if by chance, and it's a big if, maybe in the first period they don't get their offense going. And if that's the case, you're going to be able to get eventually an over 3.5 live in this game. Mrazek over saves. Yep. I mean, definitely I could see a lot of shots being fired at the net. Keep in mind, Edmonton, the last 5 games, 34, 39, 34, 40, and 30 as far as shots on goal here in the last 5 games for the Oilers. So they have been absolutely shooting the puck quite a bit. Definitely makes the sense that Peter Mrazek over saves prop that a few of our listeners and viewers in the chat are mentioning. Like I said, it's been a great 7-game win streak for the Oilers. I don't want to step in front of that, but obviously I'm I'm trying to find ways to look at Edmonton in other ways, and to me, over 1.5 first period team total over makes some sense. Maybe a little bit toward the over the both teams to score in the first period. 4 straight games have gone over with Chicago versus Edmonton as well. 4-3, 6-5, 5-4, and then last year Edmonton won 7-3 as a north of -400 favorite against Chicago. It ended up being 7-3 for the Oilers. So, you probably have to look over 6.5. The problem is over 6.5 is currently -140 to -145 in most books, and there's even some 7s out there. So, I'll probably sprinkle on over 6.5 at a -130 at Bet Rivers, and just wait for maybe a better number and a better target point with the Betcast during the Betcast tonight, and go with that. Mike, Chicago's coming to compete tonight. Like, I think defensively they could get run over tonight in this game, because if you look at the Blackhawks lately on the road, they give up 5 to Detroit, 3 to Winnipeg, 4 to Minnesota. I mean, they just haven't played great defensive hockey on the road, and now they've got this lethal Edmonton team that's just rolling on all cylinders, that on this win streak has scored 5, 8, 5, 3, 6, 4, 4. They're going to have a really hard time probably containing the Oilers tonight. But that being said, Chicago's not rolling over. This is ESPN. This is Connor Bedard getting a chance to play in Edmonton, Canadian city, Canadian market, against Connor McDavid, the current greatest player in the league, facing a young rookie that is going to be among one of the greatest players in the league for many years to come. So, Chicago's going to bring an effort here tonight. There's no doubt. So that's why I think over 6.5 appeals to me. But again, we'll just bet at small pregame and look for something better with a number and price in the bet on the Betcast. The over 1.5 in the team total for Edmonton in the first period, and maybe a little both teams to score as well for the Blackhawks and Oilers in the first period at a nice plus price here in this game as well. As far as the props go, for Edmonton, I've been waiting for Connor Brown to get going for this team, finally produce any. It looked like he was going to score a goal against New Jersey, but it got taken away. Hyman, McDavid, and Nugent Hopkins on the top line. They have been excellent. Draisaitl's picked it up. I think if over 1.5 points with McDavid, with Draisaitl, with Hyman in particular, worth a look, because they are absolutely carrying the way right now for the Edmonton Oilers, and Evan Bouchard as well. I don't think anybody's concerned about Evan Bouchard anymore. Kind of struggling a little bit offensively, not producing at a high clip for a little bit during that time. Well, 6 points in the last 3 games, and he's got 3 goals in the last 2 games. I think his goal prop is worth a look tonight, quite honestly. Evan Bouchard, 3 goals in the last 2 games. I think there's been an emphasis from the coaching staff and from Paul Coffey, who's now behind the bench as an assistant coach. Hey, man, you got a hell of a shot. Use it. Shoot it. You've got the Bouch bomb. Take advantage of it. And so you can get plus 330 still for him to score a goal. So not bad here in this game if you're going to look in that direction for Evan Bouchard, a goal prop. Bedard, does he find the back of the net? Bedard's kind of been in, I guess for him from a goal scoring standpoint, a mini slump by his standards. But, this feels like one of those nights where it wouldn't shock me to see CB98 make an impact and find the back of the net here for the Blackhawks. All right, the final game of this Tuesday night card, Winnipeg Jets, San Jose Sharks. We've got Winnipeg -195, road favorites. The total in this game currently at 6, shaded to the over, pretty much across the board in this one. You look at this spot for San Jose and give the Sharks credit. They had a whirlwind of a road trip with the multiple comebacks, forcing overtime multiple times during that incredible road trip. The effort level, they got shut out by Boston 3-0. But even in that game, they didn't play that bad. They upset New Jersey 6-3, toe-to-toe with a great Rangers team, lose 6-5, and they had a lead in that game but couldn't hang on. And then the 3 overtime shootout games where they come back and beat the Islanders in OT, come back and beat Detroit in OT, nearly come back and beat Vegas, the defending champs, on Sunday night, get the game to overtime after being down 4-2, tie it 4-4, but they do fall short there despite the valiant effort, losing 5-4 in overtime. But That was all on the road, and that took a lot out of them. And here you go back home. I just worry that we go back to the old early season San Jose, lethargic, outclassed, and they're playing a Winnipeg team that's on a roll, 4 straight wins. And being said, I can't question the heart right now of San Jose. I mean, we have seen now 4 games straight, even the Ranger game, where that team just doesn't quit and they play for 60 minutes. And what was impressive, especially about the Vegas comeback to force overtime, even though they lost in a shootout, was the fact that San Jose was really shorthanded. There was no Marc-Edouard Vlasic. There was a couple late scratches as well in that game. William Eklund was a late scratch in that game. He's played well lately for the San Jose Sharks. And yet they dug down and they came back down by 2 goals to tie that game and get it to OT against Vegas. Very commendable effort. Mackenzie Blackwood in net for San Jose tonight. Laurent Brossoit, not really that surprising. In fact, it looked like to me that Connor Hellebuck was due for a night off. And so Laurent Brossoit is in net. Laurent Brossoit, though, is off one of his absolute best performances of the season against Carolina last week. 42 saves on 43 shots. He was spectacular in that game. I remember it. And Winnipeg was able to beat Carolina 2-1 in that game. He'd kind of been up and down, Brossoit, in his previous starts, but there's no doubt that last game against Carolina, he was absolutely terrific in net for the Jets. We'll see if he can bring that here in this game. You know, I look at the head-to-head series. It's been 3 of the last 4 have gone under. We've seen some tight affairs, especially in San Jose, between these two teams. You know what's funny about this matchup? San Jose has won 5 of the last 7, 5-2 in the last 7 meetings for the Sharks, and they have beaten Winnipeg 3 straight times here in the Shark Tank. 4-3, 2-1 in overtime, and 3-0. I got to admit, I'm leaning Sharks again. I can't. They're like a drug, and I just can't quit it right now. The San Jose Sharks. But the thing that does concern me, I'm probably going to end up on a San Jose and draw, if I'm being honest. That's probably what I'm going to end up looking at. San Jose and draw, just like I had against Vegas, just like I had against the Islanders last week. I didn't bet it against Detroit, but did I have the draw? I didn't have San Jose, but I had the draw. I believe I had a piece of the draw in that Detroit game, but I definitely had San Jose and draw against the Islanders. I had San Jose and draw against Vegas on Sunday. I'm gonna go with it. You know, I'm concerned because when you're on the road, you're in the zone, the adrenaline's flowing. Now you get back home and there's distractions and there's Christmas coming around the corner and family shit that you got to deal with, and maybe that just blows apart, rips apart this great little run of true momentum that the San Jose Sharks have built up during this road winning streak they put together. So the comforts of being back home, I do get worried about that, but I'm still going to go ahead with San Jose and the draw in this game. And again, you're getting really good prices night in and night out. We got plus 440 with San Jose Vegas draw on Sunday night. I mean, just an absolutely incredible plus price with the draw there in that game. And you can, once again, in this Winnipeg San Jose game, especially at FanDuel, get a really good price with the draw here at plus 350. And again, you know, a little sprinkle on the plus 160 here with the Sharks as well in this game. This is one where, from a totals perspective, I lean slightly to the over, but I might wait for a 5.5 with the Betcast tonight. Let's see how this game opens up. I could see actually being a sluggish start. That's what will worry me about a pregame over, when I think we might have the chance to get maybe something a little bit better as far as a live in-game number here in this game. And keep in mind, too, for Winnipeg, Kyle Connor out for the Winnipeg Jets after that really, really devastating collision that he suffered the other night, and 6 to 8 weeks now with the knee injury that occurred in the Anaheim game the other night, the knee-to-knee hit that Mark Scheifele came in and stuck up for his teammate. So that's definitely a big loss. You're talking about one of your absolute best offensive players that's now going to be out for upwards of 2 months now for the Winnipeg Jets. As far as props go, Eklund, Zetterlund, Barabanov, Zadina, or even Hoffman has stepped it up lately. So, you know, there's multiple considerations here for San Jose with player props in this game. For Winnipeg, keep an eye on the lineup. You know, who is going to take that spot vacated by Kyle Connor? That's the question. And it looks like to me, Ehlers, Scheifele, and Velarde is going to be the top line. Velarde's probably worth a look. He knows the San Jose Sharks well for those years against the Kings. Cole Perfetti, I always say worth a look. Nemesnikov and Morgan Barron appear to be on the second line with Perfetti, with Kyle Connor out. And keep in mind with Morgan Barron, he's scored twice in the last 4 games. Now he's going to get a top 6 forward role for the Winnipeg Jets. So Morgan Barron might be someone you want to put a few shekels on as far as finding the back of the net here for the Winnipeg Jets tonight in this game. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. Alex, if you're in the chat or still watching, I know you're feeling a little rough right now with the bout of nausea. We hope you're back and good to go for the Betcast in a few hours tonight. And speaking of the Betcast, it is going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. 7 p.m. Eastern time for the live Betcast. It should be a great night. Our final Betcast of the year, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're on for the entire NHL slate tonight from the very beginning until the very end, right to the final seconds of this Jets-Sharks game. We will be on for the entire Tuesday night of NHL action. Make it a big show, on this final Betcast of the year. So again, DM or email me for a spot on the Betcast if you want to join us tonight. Looking forward to that. Also, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 a month. I mean, my goodness. We got a lot of signups at Patreon. We are concerned that the YouTube folks may not turn on the ability to be for memberships for the channel, which we had early on, family plan members. And by the way, all subscriptions have been frozen, so you're not going to get billed again at the end of the next month. It's frozen because nobody can sign up anymore for the family plan on YouTube. If we're not able to get family plan memberships going again on YouTube by January 1st, we're just going to say, you know what? We'll just move all the premium content and all the membership subscriptions to Patreon, patreon.com/iceguys. So make sure you sign up there, $10 a month. If you cashed in on all those great goal props last night, you made more than enough money to make it worth your while to sign up for $10 a month for patreon.com/iceguys, where you'll find all our bonus content, articles. We're going to do video content, bonus shows, bonus videos, themed videos in the new year. Once football winds down, we're going to have more time to do that kind of stuff. Bonus betcasts, impromptu live betcasts, which will be in addition to the regular monthly betcast. All of that stuff will be premium only content on Patreon at patreon.com/iceguys. So it's, again, just $10 a month. Our daily betting card and player props are posted there each and every day. Patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 a month. And another thing about that, too, is that we will put an end to posting the player props and the betting card on the community tab on YouTube at the end of December, if the YouTube memberships are not reinstated. And then we'll just do everything Patreon. So make sure this is now the time. Sign up at Patreon. Again, just $10 a month. Very reasonable. Get on Patreon. Patreon.com/iceguys. We're looking forward to bringing you tons of premium members-only content at Patreon. Patreon.com/iceguys in the new year. Andy asking, what's a Betcast? Newbie here. It's basically tonight, and what we're doing is we're just watching the games. Me, Alex, a bunch of our viewers and listeners will be joining the Betcast right on the stream, on the screen with us. We're just watching the games. We're placing live bets, drinking a little bit, and just shooting the shit about all the hockey action. That's really it, and it's a lot of fun. We have a ton of great viewers and listeners. It's a great, likable crew that we've assembled here in our audience and our Ice Guys family. So that's basically what it is, Andy. We're just going to watch the games and bet them live throughout the night, and have our viewers and listeners, many of them joining us on the show. So it'll be a fun night of hockey. That is for sure. No question about that. All right. It is time for Bargain Bin Special of the night. Let me see if Alex got into the DM and sent me his card or sent me anything he was betting here. I don't think so. So if I will post his looks for Bargain Bin Special of the night, if he has any, on the Patreon page and the community tab later when I post the full card. So I will just mention mine. Obviously, we're trying to follow it up. Another winner with Michael Carcone last night with the Bargain Bin Special of the night. I'm going to go to Tampa Bay, Vancouver. That is a great price. Sam Lafferty Vancouver Canucks plus 450 at FanDuel to score a goal tonight. On the top line, goals in 3 of the last 4 games for the Canucks. Rick Tocchet has supreme confidence in this player right now with the way he's playing. It's just an absolutely outstanding price for a red-hot Sam Lafferty for the Vancouver Canucks. Plus 450 to score a goal on the top line and with goals in 3 of the last 4 games. So Lafferty, Vancouver, plus 450. My bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday card. All right, best bet for this Tuesday NHL card. Lots to choose from tonight. Obviously, a lot of games in action here in the NHL tonight. I am going to go with, for my best bet, those Philadelphia Flyers. I'm going with the dog here. Plus 125. They're red hot. They're playing great hockey. Nashville coming back home off a road trip, and Nashville has had to travel in between games, the last 6 games they've played. So they've done a lot of travel. Philly's playing great. Plus 125 for them as a road dog against Nashville. We'll take the surging Philadelphia Flyers, plus 125 for my best bet for this Tuesday card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks a lot. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. I like that, Jarek. Max Domi, plus 550 for his bargain bin. Dad's trip, and he has 13 points in 17 games versus the Rangers. Yeah, and his dad played for the Rangers. Dad played for both teams, the Leafs and the Rangers, in his career. So maybe it's time for a little Max Domi magic tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're back in a few hours with our final Ice Guys live betcast of 2023, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us for that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern for the final Ice Guys live betcast of the year tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Join us then for that. It'll be a lot of fun. Don't you dare miss it. And of course, we're back with our daily show tomorrow, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, with another edition of the Ice Guys. We'll see you tonight for the Betcast.